SeedsTalk, strategi, wawasan, dan cerita inspiratif seputar dunia investasi.
Hello, Sneha.
Hi. Thank you so much for the introduction, guys. And thank you all for joining. So, I'll just present my screen. That's fine.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I hope you can see my screen.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So, pretty excited for the collaboration with Seeds Academy. We call this campaign as Road to Web3, which we've previously run as part of Metaschool to onboard beginners or developers in the Web2 space, even non-tech people to Web3. So I am Sneha Kumari. I work as a developer relations engineer and community person at Metaschool. Uh, so these are the socials. I'll show this later for you to follow us on socials so that you can get all the latest updates, what we're doing for Web3. So Web3 in itself is a very, very vast space. There's so much happening on day-to-day basis. So, in order to give you guys a gist of why you should invest in learning Web3, is what I'm going to talk about for the next 30 minutes. So, in the next 10 years, every internet company is sort of going to be a blockchain company, now also a blockchain into AI company, because tech is revolving really fast. But when it comes to Web3, we do not have enough builders because the tech is comparatively very new. We do not have enough resources in for Web3 right now. So out of the 30 million developers worldwide, only 22,000 of them are actually building in Web3. Now it's a mix of, part-time and full-time developers. So Web3 definitely needs more builders. Fine. So, for anybody who is not aware of what Web3 is, so we are into the third transition of internet, starting back when Google and other platforms were still up and in discovery. It was all static pages that you could see on the network, on the internet, and then with the next set of development, we saw real-time interaction where applications like Facebook, Instagram, all of this came into play, and then you could just live chat, react, and do all sorts of activities online, no matter where the other person is based out of. And then came the concept of Web3. Now, why did Web3 come into existence? It was because people saw a problem that in Web2, the major companies out there were owning our data. It's very common experience for all of us that if I am talking to one of my friends about taking a trip to Indonesia, suddenly my Instagram reels is filled with reels related to Indonesia. Where should I go in Bali? Where should I be in Ubud? And all of these places. So a lot of us know that all of that activity online is being tracked and that we do not have control over our data or privacy for that matter. So people came up with an idea of decentralized internet where you don't just do activities online, but you also have the complete ownership of the data, and the big tech companies do not really own it. So for such applications, we call them decentralized applications because there's no single authority controlling it. So with Metaschool, our mission is to enable the next 10 million developers enter Web3 and build as much as applications as possible. As of now, we have more than 40,000 decentralized applications shipped by our students. And on our platform, we have almost 15 plus blockchains covered. So for a lot of you who are mostly interested in investing, or even if you're not very aware of what's going in tech, a lot of you must be aware of Bitcoin, but that is not all when you talk about Web3 or blockchain. There's too many other blockchains. There's Ethereum, there's Aptos, there's Sui, and you can build applications on all of these. So we have a lot of community partners outside. We do a lot of events, and one of them is now Seeds Academy. So the best time to get started with anything or to contribute to anything in any field is when it's completely in a or it's in a very nascent early stage, because you will have a lot of opportunities. Now, what opportunities is it that I'm talking about? I'll show you. At this moment, Web3 and a lot of blockchains that are in the space are providing a lot of funding and grants for you to build applications or to, get started with your own startup. There are way better salaries than what is being offered to a software engineer in a Web2 space. The community is very, very inclusive, and they're very helpful. You can connect with absolutely anybody across the world, and the impact that you're trying to make is insane. Like when you work in a multinational company, you might be doing or you might be working there for like the past 3 years, 4 years, but then out of all of those employees that are there in the building, what impact are you creating? How many of them are actually aware of your existence? Or does Google bother about all of their employees or the change that they're making? That cannot be done when you have lakhs of employees around the world. But when you're working in a new space, be it AI or Web3, the space is so new and there's such few people who are actually contributing to the space that everything that you do starts creating a difference. So I generally like to do some riddles so that the crowd is a little interactive. And we always say that who builds in winter and earns in summer. So that's just a proverb for saying that, okay, if you invest like 6 months of your time or 3 months of your time learning a particular tech stack, when it's Web3, you can easily start making money no matter what age group you are in. So a Web3 developer, that's the answer to it. So yeah, so in case you want to, hop on to Metaschool, get to know more about us, you can hop on our Discord server or even the Telegram group for that matter. I'll share the link with you guys later. And then you can just start interacting with people who have already been learning. Now, the number that you see on the screen right now, again, it was supposed to be a riddle, but I understand that the entire thing is very new for you, so I'll just answer. 6 stands for the new Solidity version releases that the space has seen in the past year. And Solidity here is the programming language that you will be using to build applications on Ethereum. And it is the one programming language that is widely accepted by a lot of blockchains. For this particular number, we're talking about mainnet launches and upgrades. I understand that these terms might be new for a lot of you guys, and it's all part of Web3 jargons that actually happens. So with mainnet, we're just talking about the main network of the blockchain where every activity is happening. For 211, we're talking about new Web3 developer tools that keep coming up in a quarter or in a matter of 6 months in order to make the development in Web3 space easier. We ran the Road to Web3 cohort once, and out of the 400 revs who joined the Road to Web3 cohort, only 45 completed it. It was a 4-week long program. So every time we do partnership, we do a campaign, or if we are running a boot camp, what we expect from the students is consistency. Because if you are consistent, you're going to make enough progress for you to be able to understand that why putting time in learning a particular skill was important for that matter. Okay. Now, a lot of community people or the students who I have taught always ask that why should we learn Web3? What are the opportunities that you're looking at? Okay, investing angle, obviously there's money, but why should we learn it as developers? Okay. So according to Stack Overflow, 56% of the developers have heard of Web3 and blockchain, but only 19,279 monthly active devs are there in Web3. That means that if it's a growing tech, the requirement is huge. But in comparison to how many developers we have in Web2, Web3 is pretty less in number. But what is the average Web3 salaries that people are getting? If you look at Asia region, since we belong in the Southeast Asia regions, it's $58,000 on average yearly salary, which is almost 3x to what people get in Web2. And it doesn't really, you don't really need to have like 5 years or 10 years of experience to be able to make this salary. Okay. It's what they actually look at is the right skill set that you have. Okay. And how can you enter Web3? So that is why Metaschool and Seeds Academy have come together to build this boot camp that takes you through the basics of Web3 to building an application on it, and then giving you enough resources for you to explore everything that you can build, the blockchains that you would want to explore, and then get started. So in this time, the Road to Web3 is only a structured 1 week program because we don't want to keep you busy for a really, really long time. And why should you be a part of it? Again, for everyone who has been a developer or who's looking into being a developer, any skill set that you're trying to learn, the best way to do it is by building projects, not just by learning theories. So you can just learn by shipping. Metaschool has all the courses as free and open source, and then you can just build projects and learn a particular skill set. Build your portfolio so you will have real projects to actually stand out. You can build with your friends, like in this boot camp. You can just collaborate, be a peer-to-peer learning buddy, and then collaborate with your peers, and then obviously showcase and share. We love to give shout outs to people who've been active in the space and are building something with us. For the boot camp that we're going to talk about, we'll talk about a few Web3 jargons first. We'll take you through, okay, what MetaMask wallet is, deep diving into Ethereum, writing your first Solidity smart contract, and then there are tons of next steps that you can go through. But obviously, this is a lot for a 30-minute session, and that is why we have the entire 5-day program designed. But for today, I've already told you what Web 1, Web 2, Web 3 was. If you you know about blockchain in general, where we know that all of us started with Bitcoin, but then Ethereum was the first blockchain that allowed you to build applications, and that's a layer 1 blockchain. Again, any blockchain that is compatible with Ethereum virtual machine uses Solidity as the programming language. So you will hear Solidity, Ethereum, EVM, MetaMask a lot. All of us are aware that crypto is not very compatible with the current financial system that we have. You cannot store cryptocurrencies in your bank accounts. So definitely you need to have a crypto wallet, and MetaMask is that one crypto wallet which is very Ethereum compatible, and you can have multiple blockchain networks. And that is why, an installation of it and how to deal with it in terms of security is a very important segment when you get started with. The other thing that you should know about, or you will hear a lot, is about testnet and mainnet. So on blockchain, everything is like a transaction. When you're building a project and you are writing the logic of it, every action that is happening on that, but in that program or project, is like a transaction on the network. So, and for all of those transactions causes money. Why? Because it is being listed on the network transparently for anybody and everybody to see it. So if we were that rich that we're working on a project and we can pay money for every activity, we would not be here. That is why we had another network segment called the testnet, where you can just get test tokens to be able to do any kind of transactions. So you will hear testnet word a lot. So for any blockchain, you can just add their test network and start building. You do not need any money. They will give you the test tokens for it. Once you see that your application is amazing and it has a real use case and a lot of people might just be interested to use it, you can get in touch with the respective team to actually build a startup out of it, and that entire application would be on mainnet. Again, all the programming logic for anybody and everybody who is aware of development in general, you might have heard of programming languages called C++, Java, Python, and all of that. So in blockchain, we talk about something called as Solidity. That is the programming language that we write for Ethereum. Very, very similar to Web2 programming languages, but there's certain keywords and syntaxes that are different, and you will need to understand that how each of these elements fit in together for an application to actually work on the blockchain. Too much information, but yeah, we'll take you through all of this and help you build multiple projects during those 5 days so that you can get started with your journey in Web3. All you have to do is just join the bootcamp. This is the Luma link. They've already shared the Seed Finance link. The Google form for Seeds Finance is also added on the Luma. So you can just check out any of it. And yeah, if you have any questions, you can just ask me.
All right. Thank you for the explanation, Sneha. It was very detailed and easy to understand, I suppose. All right. So if anyone has questions about Web3 Metaschool, feel free to ask, as we are about to start the Q&A session where we'll go over important questions from our audience, along with a few questions we have prepared for you. Thank you.
Okay, I see a question where someone's asking that many people think that they need to be developers to take advantage of Web3 finance. What are some ways non-developers can participate in and benefit from the decentralized economy? Okay, so to be very, very honest, I think Web3 as an industry has more opportunities for non-tech people than technical people. Like, okay, so you might not be interested in coding or being a developer, but what is at the prime of Web3 as a technology is community. And I have so many of my friends who have been involved in community building just because they like the idea of learning about things openly. You don't necessarily have to sit in front of a laptop and code, and then also bring in people together, make them aware about a certain technology, contribute in one way or the other, do events and all of that. So I think that is one way that you can definitely get involved. Secondly, if you really think that you have the knack for marketing on how you can help a particular product reach multiple users, how you can highlight the differences of it, how can you make people believe that, hey, you need to just give it a try and it's an amazing product that you're trying here, help them with the steps of it and all of that, you can definitely be involved in the marketing side of things. Great way to be a part of Web3 space in general. There are a lot of people whose social media game is spot on, and there are a lot of these Web3 companies who are so busy in building things that they sort of forget to put it out there, let people know that what they're building, not focus on letting people know that, oh, they are a part of the journey and all of that. So you can definitely be part of social media teams, even part-time, if you feel that you are spot on to that. There are a lot of people who write a lot in the Web3 space. It does not have to be a coding tutorial, but maybe you participated in this boot camp and you got to know 5 jargon terms about Web3, that, crypto wallet, MetaMask, Solidity, layer 1, layer 2, testnet, and you just write definitions of it in a blog. So that there's a content writer, there's creative content writer as well as technical content writer, depending on what you want to go forward with. So yeah, I think there are a lot of ways: marketing, community, writing, design is a huge element. UI, UX improvement is a big challenge in Web3, because it's not like your usual wallet sign in that you will just put in your Google email and password and just go in. So if you have a knack for design, I think UI UX is a great way to get started as well. So if you explore a little bit more, I think you will find more avenues to be non-technically involved. And trust me, in this moment, there are a good amount of non-tech people doing some amazing work in this space. So I hope that answers your question.
All right, thank you for the explanation about the questions. Also, the answer is, I hope it will be enough for the one who's asking about the question. All right, so Ara, she is raising her hands. You may please open your mic.
Okay. Thank you, Arum, for this opportunity. Hello, good evening, Sena. Sena, might I ask something? For someone just getting started in Web3 finance, what are the top 3 tools or research and recommend for learning and navigating this space effectively?
Okay, so if you are okay, I want to understand this. Are you talking about Web3 finance where you just want to get involved in maybe investing, learning about certain applications, or you are also looking at building finance applications? Then I can help you better.
Okay, thank you, Sena. Mas Arum, silakan dilanjutkan.
All right. I think I want to ask, I have my own question about the Web2 that you were talking about earlier. So you said that in Web2, we don't own ownership over our data. So how does Web3 return ownership to users?
Okay, yeah, so that is a good question. Okay, so right now, I'll give you a very layman example. Right now, suppose I go to Twitter, which is now X as the platform, and I post something which is a personal view of my own, and it is against the government of the country that I'm living in, right? You will see that it immediately gets flagged as part of Twitter community guidelines, right? And it's taken off while, I mean, it's me, it's my personal views, but then, somebody else has the ownership of the data. If you look at Web3, the applications that you're building, or the kind of activity that you're doing on the network, all of it is being recorded as a transaction. Okay, and that transaction happens from your account. That means your wallet will always do a particular thing. And that particular transaction is being updated in the entire network infrastructure without revealing any data. So if 10 years down the line somebody goes and checks for that particular transaction hash, they could still see that you performed that activity. So it gets registered to your name without revealing any private information, but then you have the entire control of it. In fact, once that is on chain, even you cannot change what you have said. Like, for example, if me and you propose a bet that, okay, if 30 people come for the workshop, I give you $100, and if less than 30 people come in, you give me $100. Okay, now you see that um it's going to be more than 30, and you suddenly change the condition of the bet, and you say, hey, no, we never signed a deal about it, or maybe it was written on the paper and you added an extra zero to it because you wanted to win, right? You said that, oh, okay, if less than 300 people come in, then I was supposed to pay you. But if you do this on blockchain, it gets recorded as a transaction, and anybody in the world can actually verify that, oh, Sneha and Aram had a discussion, they recorded it on chain as a program, and this was the number. So no discrepancy of data can happen. That is why anybody who's involved in a particular event owns that particular data, because nobody can tamper it or change it for that matter.
Thank you for the explanation. So basically, we're actually owning the data this time by using the Web3.
Yes.
I
Yes.
see.
Yeah.
Thank you. So if there is any further questions, you can always ask on the Q&A section so that Sneha here will help you answer your questions about the Web3, especially about the bootcamp or Metaschool. Yep.
Okay. Hello,
Yes.
Sneha, sorry.
Yeah.
Maybe I will help you to read the question that our participants sent before, because Arum has a problem with the device to read it. The
Okay.
first question, does centralization in Web3 really provide financial freedom to individuals?
Mm-hmm.
Or does it create new challenge, such as a lack regulation and potential fraud?
Okay. So, good question on that. If you're talking about financial freedom or anything, okay, so Web3 has a very huge security aspect, and that security and privacy aspect comes as a very prime element when you're dealing with money or anything that is very, very crucial in terms of information. So at this moment, definitely it feels like that, oh, there's no intermediary involved, and how do we know where our money is going and all of that. But personally, I feel that if you do not want, like right now, what happens if I send you $100 and it does not reflect in your bank account, if you're using a UPI or maybe a pay now, or I don't know which is the apps that is active in your region, but suppose you're doing a bank to bank transfer, and if the money does not come in the bank, we know that we can just go and lash out at the bank officials and ask them, hey, where the money is, what happened to the money. And then they will help us find out that, oh, you put in a wrong account number, maybe you gave in wrong information and the money is on hold and all of that. That is not the case when it comes to Web3, because there is no intermediary involved in that case, and that is why everything is happening on the network. You are still doing things very transparently. If I am sending you $100, anybody on the network can see that this transaction has been has happened between Sneha and Seeds Academy. Okay, so there's nothing to hide, there's nothing to lie that you can. Now you can definitely say that, hey, I never received the funds. Could be possible, but there could be potential reasons. Maybe you did not uh, handle your wallet phrases correctly. Maybe you were not, maybe your wallet was hacked for that matter. So I think the security concerns and more awareness for the crypto wallets or for the technology is required for people to actually be able to use it. And any new tech takes time to adapt. Even our grandparents are still not very accustomed to using mobile banking or surf the internet, transfer money online, and all of that. They would still prefer going to the banks in a physical mode and write or fill a form, write a check, and then get it transferred. So it's just about awareness, and I don't think that if mass adoption comes in or things get a bit easier, it's going to be any difficult. I think then you would not need different currencies in different regions, that you would send me Indonesian rupee and I would be like, hey, I needed it in Singapore dollars. Cryptocurrency remains same everywhere. So you send me a particular cryptocurrency. Bitcoin in Indonesia is also Bitcoin, and Bitcoin in Singapore is also Bitcoin, right? So I think it eases out a lot of process. You just need to be aware of what's happening, how to be very, very careful with your wallet, perform all the security purposes, steps and all of that, and it could be better over time. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Sina, for the answers. And actually, she has two questions here, and I will read the second question from Resvi. Okay, the second question is, to what extent can be Web3 replace the traditional financial system in everyday life, given challenges such as a mass adoption, volatility, and of crypto asset, and dependence on digital infrastructure?
Okay, so I think I answered most of it in the previous question, that it's a lot about being aware about a particular aspect, particular tech, how to take care of things. Even today, there are so many scams that happen on a day-to-day basis, that random people will call you, ask you for your credit card number, mobile OTP, and then, transactions happen and you lose your money and all of that. So it's just about awareness, how you're dealing with all of it, and government does so many campaigns around making people aware about such things. So with crypto also similar things are required. Just one point of addition, where the person mentioned about volatile nature of the crypto assets. Definitely that is a big concern, that today you might just have $100 of Bitcoin, and tomorrow Bitcoin goes to $10, so you lose a lot of money. But then there's also a 50% chance of it going to $1,000, and then you make 10x of money, right? It depends on what bet are you trying to take. The other part where they deal with the volatile nature of cryptocurrencies is with the introduction of stable coins, which I was anyway going to talk in the boot camp. Is that stablecoin is that kind of digital asset which is pegged to a particular currency, and it is not volatile at all. Like, it would be a matter of just one or two dollar difference. Like, if you hear, I don't know how many of you have heard of it, but if you have heard of USDC, it's a stable coin. It is backed by US dollars, so it will always have a price of $1. One USDC will always be pegged to $1. So the price is not volatile, and stable coins is being considered as the most um prominent and comfortable form of transactions if you do not want to take bet on cryptocurrencies and their prices. So I hope that answers your question.
Okay, Sina, thank you so much for the answers. And I think that's all from the question and answer box. And I will give it back to our partner Arum. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Putra. So if any of our audience members have additional questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat and we'll try to answer as many as we can. But along the way, I still have this one personal question about, if you may. Yes, so as you were saying in the last, I don't know, like a few minutes ago, maybe like when we were talking about the blockchain, in the next 10 years, every transaction will be on the blockchain. So what are the chances that blockchain will power most industries in the next 10 years or decade?
I think, okay, so just like right now, you see that AI was on the boom, and ChatGPT came in, and then a lot of models came in, and now every one of us is using ChatGPT in some or the other form. So similarly, once we are more and more aware of our data privacy, and we will understand that, hey, our data is being used by these big techs and all of that. all of us would start shifting to decentralized applications. The other thing that would also power the fact that in the next 10 years, a lot of companies would be using blockchain is how easy we make it for the people to get onboarded. Like right now, for Web2 applications, you can just sign in using your email ID and password. And if you forget it, you just reset it, right? But that is not the case with crypto wallets or a lot of applications. You always have these seed phrases which needs to be protected, because if you lose access to your account, that is the only way that you're going to regain access to it. So I think it's a matter of UI UX and complexity on onboarding users to applications. If we simplify it, more and more people would be using it, because come on, the features remain the same, but you have an added advantage of your data not being sold to bigger companies, right? So it's about how aware we are that what advantages it is bringing and how less complicated we make the process. Um, uh, the better we work on the UI UX side and easier onboarding, I think the more and more people and infrastructure will onboard in the Web3 space.
We see that you have answered all the question in our chat box, and I think this is the last or the end of our Q&A session, and I will give it this webinars to our host Aurado again. Back, thank you.
Oke, thank you Putra. Jadi teman-teman summarize dari tadi penjelasan Shena and Arum adalah gimana Web3 ini mengubah cara pandang kita terhadap uang dan transaksi secara revolusioner. Nah, keuangan itu terdesentralisasi ya teman-teman, hadir untuk memangkas perantara. Bisa jadi pembuka akses layanan, keuangan, dan lebih mudah lagi untuk siapapun. Jadi teman-teman di sini juga bisa mempelajari Web3 dan dengan keamanannya lebih gitu, lebih dari transaksi keuangan yang kita lakukan sekarang ataupun di sektor perbankan sekarang. Jadi kalau misalnya teman-teman semuanya harus dibarengi dengan edukasi. Jadi itu yang menjadi kunci utama dalam untuk mengetahui Web3 ini. Nah, bagi siapapun yang mau terjun ke Web3, tentunya Seed Finance merangkul teman-teman gitu untuk belajar bersama-sama, dan kita juga menyelenggarakan fasilitas teman-teman untuk belajar bersama, dan tentunya kita akan menghadirkan mentor yang sudah terverifikasi langsung dari Singapura. Nah, oke. Thank you for information, Barin. Maybe our team, Arum, is already in the room now and can continue. Hello, Arum.
Hello.
Okay, let's begin.
All right, so what an incredible discussion we had today. We explored the fundamental shifts that Web3 finance is bringing to the world, the role of smart contracts, and how we can all participate in this decentralized revolution. A huge thank you to our amazing speaker, Sneha, for sharing her knowledge and expertise. And of course, a big thank you to all of you for joining us and making this session both engaging and insightful.
Oke, thank you Shena. Thank you teman-teman semua partisipan dan tim Seed yang telah menyelenggarakan webinar ini. Agar teman-teman acara terlaksana dengan lancar ya teman-teman, dan pastinya buat teman-teman yang tadi nyimak diskusi kita, bahwa memang kalau misalnya Web3 itu benar-benar membuka pandangan kita secara luas terkait dunia, apalagi berbagai transaksional yang keuangan gitu. Nah, untuk teman-teman yang mau tahu lebih dalam terkait Web3, kita ada bootcamp. Untuk informasinya sendiri, teman-teman bisa dapatkan di Instagram Seeds Finance dan juga grup Info Menarik Seeds yang sebelumnya telah teman-teman bergabung. Di situ ada informasi lebih detail terkait bootcamp ini, yang pastinya teman-teman akan mendapatkan pembelajaran eksklusif secara 5 hari bersama teman-teman Metaschool dari Singapura. Untuk topik pembahasannya setiap harinya dengan tema yang berbeda, pastinya akan uploading terkait pengetahuan teman-teman kayak gitu. Oke teman-teman, sekian untuk webinar sore hari ini. Terima kasih untuk partisipasinya, dan terima kasih teman-teman sudah memantau terus nih segala kegiatan ataupun campaign yang telah Seeds Finance selenggarakan. Oke teman-teman, thank you. Itu aja yang bisa aku sampaikan. Semoga apa yang kita pelajari di sore hari ini bermanfaat untuk kita semua dan pastinya kita explore lebih dalam lagi. Jangan cepat puas dan selalu semangat untuk belajar. Thank you teman-teman.
Seeds, investing together.